got with me here Hove, the last episode's podcast boss, or attempted to be, and Triton, and we've also got Resolute's own HOVEY. Thanks so much for joining us today, HOVEY.
Yo, my honor. Sorry I missed it last time.
Oh, no worries at all, man. We're just so hyped to have you here talking about the beta because it's finally here. HOVEY, how was your first impressions just jumping in for the very first time? I would ask you, who you are in the Destiny community and stuff like that, but you're a regular to the show at this point. You've been on here. People kind of know about you.
So the beta, I mean, I'm enjoying it. There's some problems, but for the most part, it's really good. I like it.
Nice. What about you guys, Hove, Triton?
I'm a fan. In a broad sense. I mean, I don't want to repeat exactly what HOVEY said, but there's obviously issues. It's a beta. That's what it's supposed to have. But for the most part, I'm happy with it. It's a lot of the things I was hoping it would be, and it has me excited for the full release in 2.5 months.
Yeah. Triton.
Well, as we were talking about a little bit before the show, I was trying to compare my beta experiences from Destiny 1 and this one. And I remember playing the first Destiny beta and just loving every second of it because it was so new and it was just something I hadn't explored, and I didn't really buy into the pre-hype, and I wasn't like a Bungie fanboy or anything like that. So I really enjoyed it. I had a lot more expectations and a lot more things I wanted to see, some things I hoped weren't in there. But overall, I think I really did enjoy the experience. I think we had some good company, getting to play with you, and Hove was there too. But got to play with Clawman for the first time, which was pretty awesome. So I think overall, it was something I definitely looked forward to, something I enjoyed, and the fact that I got to play with friends was, is pretty much what makes Destiny for me.
That's one of my favorite parts, is just seeing Resolute, the entire, there's 2 or 3 pages that are just completely full, and having everyone that we saw at GC too. Just last night I was playing with Too Loud and Expat a bunch, and the night before I was playing with you guys. And it's just been so much fun just playing with all the different people. And because everybody wants to try everything, no one's afraid to go in and do, I can't say patrol, but go in and do a strike, or go in and do Crucible. I even just went in with Expat and Kales into a strike, and we just wandered around the area because they're like, oh, what's this? What's this over here? Everything's so new. But I would compare my experience too to kind of what Triton was saying, where Destiny 1 was just something brand new. It was a brand new IP whenever we tried that beta. And so you kind of went in thinking, I feel like I went in with a misexpectation of thinking it would feel completely new, just a lot of YouTubers and streamers that got to go to a lot of the events were like, oh, it's so crisp. Oh, it's so smooth. And, I was expecting something completely new, and it's still spoiler alert, it feels like Destiny, I think we've all noticed that, but it's still very different kind of Destiny at the same time. So I feel like we should jump into it kind of piece by piece. Maybe might be good, just to have some sort of format here. So I figured we could start with what the game starts with, the story, jumping in there straight into that first story mission. How did you guys feel about it? I thought I was overwhelmingly impressed with that part of it. Overwhelmingly.
It's way better than Destiny 1. Destiny 1's story, the intro is so boring to me. Yeah. This one I actually felt like it was, you were into it. You felt like you were a part of it. It was exciting.
And I like how the way it starts off, everything else is kind of separate from you. All the stuff with Zavala and the missiles first attacking and because you're kind of watching that and we're used to watching it. And then it shows another cutscene that you're not used to seeing, which is you flying into that area. And it's it felt like, oh, this is me. This is the part I haven't. It's they purposely didn't show that part just to make it feel like this is my character coming into the action. It just immediately sucked me in.
He still didn't talk though.
Oh yeah, well I think that's purposeful though.
Obviously it's purposeful.
Your character did talk in D1. That's the thing, and I think they purposely didn't have them talk at the beginning of this one. Maybe they will in the full game. We don't know yet.
No, I definitely. It felt more immersive. It felt like you said more like you were in it, and having a background. Even all the jokes about the story in Destiny 1, having things to look back on from an old game. Like Amanda Holiday showing up, and when she said when she looked at the Traveler and said, what did she say? Come on, big guy, do something. It was so sad. You don't what's happening.
That part got me. I was Oh, that line, like I felt like the voice acting was so good that, like, and I'd seen it in the trailers and stuff, but whenever I was actually playing it and watching it and kind of sucked in from the first part, you know, you just played it and then it plays that scene and I'm like, yeah, come on, do something. Like I felt some sort of connection to what was actually happening, which doesn't have like happened like 2 times in the entirety of Destiny for me and all its DLCs, you know? So.
Yeah, I think introducing the structure of how like story missions could play out, whether that's more cutscenes, whether that's having kind of like multi-stage boss battles. I mean, even kind of at the end there, because we had to play the story missions independently before we joined up for PvP, even like destroying those turbines at the end, like thinking about that, I don't remember a lot of like story missions where like the last thing was having to potentially like destroy something. I just couldn't really think of a mission where it wasn't just like fight off the waves at the end, then maybe kill a boss. Like that was kind of more in the middle when you're with Zavala, and then you kind of fight that other 1 or 2 other guys that are like bigger yellow bars. Then at the end, it's not really a puzzle, but you have to move around the map and do something. And I'm just trying to think like what story mission would have been like that, where you had to, that was kind of the end of the level. And I really couldn't think of anything other than like when you would just like summon your ghost at the end to scan something. So I thought that was different as well. And maybe I haven't played a story mission in Destiny 1 in forever, so maybe there is levels like that. But I thought that was kind of a cool thing. And if levels are all a little bit different like that, then yeah, I think that's what I enjoyed the most. Because
what are you thinking? I can see you shaking your head.
There is one in Destiny 1.
What is it?
It was a hive mission. I don't know the names of any of them. You go in. It's the same room where you fight somebody later, some big hive guy, and there's that like weird spinny ball with the things around it, and at the end of the one mission, it tells you to destroy it.
Oh, that's right. When they're
but I get what Triton's saying though. It's more like a hey, figure this out, jump through these hoops. It was like a jumping puzzle.
Yeah, I died like 10 times before I figured that out.
Yeah, I know. Me too. Hovey, how many times whenever you were asked to put your ghost in, you know, at some part of the mission or the strike or something, did you think that, okay, now I'm going to fight off hordes of enemies after you put it in? Because
I asked him to put his ghost in once.
Hove asked for that all the time.
And we didn't fight off any enemies.
He had to fight you off, maybe. But for real, like every time that I went up to a console, I was thinking to myself, like, okay, now's the time. I'm gonna have to put it here, and then I have to fight off all these, you know, enemies.
We woken the hive?
Exactly, yeah. And that never happened. Every time you put your ghost somewhere, you had to. Yeah, you're okay. You got the map. Now move on, and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a lot different. I didn't really. I don't know. I don't really pay attention much to PvE, if I'm being honest.
Yeah,
the whole story mission. Fair. I'm like, all right, when's PvP?
Yeah, you got to get through it.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm definitely more. I went into Destiny, I think, as a PvE person, but you know, especially with the whole content drought and there really not being anything to do for long periods of time, I definitely play way more PvP nowadays than I do PvE. But if the game continues to look and feel and play like that first mission did, exactly. I think the PvE is going to be a lot more enjoyable. Yeah. You know, I think by nature it's still going to run dry before PvP will, because it's still going to be the same missions, the same strikes. You know,
yeah, I personally don't care about story that much. I just want it to be exciting, and that's Destiny 2 delivered on that at least. Because you know, you enter the story mission and it's like bang, bang, bang. Yeah. Destiny 1, you like it's really slow, and the whole mission's really boring for the most part. So I was happy with that. Yeah, and the strike was really interesting too.
I agree. Dude, that strike was exciting. There were parts where I was like, man, I'm actually enjoying running away from all these dogs that came out of nowhere chasing me, you know, like that kind of stuff, like just threw me off. Like there was just random things that would happen that I was like, oh, this is actually like really fun doing this for a second. Like granted, I want to jump to PvP as soon as possible too, but I did enjoy like a lot of that stuff, regardless of the story.
I do have one issue with it. And I mentioned this a couple weeks ago when we first heard about it. And this is small and stupid, but it's just me. Stupid.
I know what it is.
And it may change in the beta, but story-wise, it seems like that would be the beginning of Destiny 2, right? You just show up and everything's been destroyed. Okay, so we ended Destiny 1 with everything we had, 6 or 3 subclasses per class and all that stuff. And now all of a sudden we just come back and we're like, yo, Like, I'm a space Captain America, or I'm a dong blade, or I'm a pole dancer. Like, where did that, why, how, what? Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. That feels really.
Well, we also had legendary weapons too, so I'm sure it's going to be different. Hope so.
I mean, do you think they'll just do some sort of? Because I also think it would be kind of lame for them to just say, "Oh, hey, look, you learned these new things," and then just give it to you, because that really isn't much different. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't see them adding any playable stuff before that whole thing that like shows you getting that stuff. You just all of a sudden have these new abilities. Cool.
You know, one thing I did like about Destiny 1 is when they did release the new subclasses, you had to do those little missions to unlock them. And even though they weren't like crazy, they were still like exciting. It was fun to unlock it. So hopefully they do something like that.
I mean, it would be something that I would get over like immediately.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of weird to me. Like, how did that happen? Why did that happen?
And something me and you talked about that, Hove, I think when we were playing the other night, was that there's a chance that when the game actually starts, they just wanted us to try out those new subclasses, and you'll just start with your original 3, and that'll be it. And then you, like HOVEY mentioned, those missions where you learn those subclasses, you'll learn them later on. Of course, you'll be able to go back and do the first story mission, and you'll have those or whatever. So, yeah, I think that's a possibility. And we'll just, like you said, we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I do want to say though that I revived Zavala. That was awesome. Went down. I revived him.
So Hove was playing. Like we were kind of just hanging out in chat. Like all of RezoCast got to play together for a second, and Hove was like, "Well, I'll just do the story mission on my new character real quick. We'll kind of talk through it and stuff." And as he's playing it, all of a sudden he was like, "Wait, is Zavala dead right here? Did I just revive Zavala? What is happening?"
I should be the Vanguard, yo.
Well, I love that they set it up in that Destiny trailer too, showing how many times he's been revived in the past. Like, hey, it's not that big of a deal. He's died a lot before.
Can I also tell you another thing that bothers me?
Yes, I want all the things that bother you, Hove.
So you're in the top of the tower. Well, you're not at this point, but Zavala and Ikora and and this fleet of hundreds of ships pulls up and all shoots like hundreds of rockets at the tower, and the tower is destroyed and it collapses and rubble. And I know it's not collapsed at that point, but like Zavala's like, cool, I got a bubble, like just stand here. Like nothing else was going to collapse. The floor underneath is totally fine. Everything's all right because he has his bubble up.
I think that's the point, is like maybe the ceiling came down on that room or something.
It's a tower. They shot 1,000 rockets at it.
But the tower, you said it yourself, the tower hadn't fallen yet. He was still...
Well, it should have.
I like to back up a little bit further than that and realize that for as sophisticated as they were, that some kind of like, maybe you could argue like electrical storm, but really like a thunderstorm pretty much allowed all of these like Cabal ships to come in, and they were reduced to like line of sight radar at that point. And how do they never have that many ships before? How did no one else ever even think to like assault them? It wasn't like they tried to hide where they were. They were right underneath the speaker. So if we're going to do like really plot hole picking, like I just feel like from the very get-go, you're like, oh man, like really? So no one ever had this many ships? Or I mean, like all their radar, and they were like, I don't know. Oh, well, you can see them now. They're coming out of the clouds. Never could have saw that coming. That sucks.
Well, but it's
like I said, none of this is like a negative.
Yeah,
right. Absolutely.
It's moving past all the nitpicky kind of stuff. I wanted to say that the strike, and the strike in particular, like felt so huge and gave us a sense of what that planet was going to be like, because you could just walk around like almost like you were in a patrol mission, you know, and you could see Fallen if you like look behind you and stuff like that. And someone even told me there were pikes you could get on if you just walked around a little bit more and whatnot.
Apparently you could like glitch out of the place, right?
Yeah. And someone said they got into a lost sector zone too.
I've seen that a couple places.
Yeah. So I was just amazed at how far you could go. Like, you know, in D1, when they were showing it off and they're like, everywhere, the classic line, everywhere you can see, you can go, you know, they never said that here, but I was just like looking around like at that, you know, an example would be that Vex waterfall of milk that is like next to you, and
Sounds
whenever
hot.
you're warping through, you could actually go there and go to the top of it, and that's an area that you can get to. And it's just crazy that there were all of these areas. Like everywhere I looked, I was like, oh well, let me see if I can get over there, and then I could, and I was like, wow, this isn't out of bounds. This is weird, you know.
I gotta ask you, have you played Breath of the Wild yet?
No, and I know the
That
compare.
shit'll blow your mind.
Not even gonna try to compare it to that because there are games that are so much bigger than this. So
It's crazy, man.
and dude,
I've never owned a Zelda game.
see,
'Cause you're a bad person.
I'm 99% sure those exact 2 sentences happened last time you were on.
Probably.
Pretty sure, literally, it was without missing a beat because you're a bad person.
Oh yeah, I do have something to talk to Hovey about though. With that, I'd never played the Master Quest for Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
And I finally, like, I didn't realize that the 3DS version that I got came with it, and so I beat the game, and I was like, oh wait, this has Master Quest on it. So I just started that, and that's been like my go-to travel whenever I'm not on Destiny right now. That's what I'm doing, and it is awesome.
Have you played A Link Between Worlds yet?
No, and that's right next on my list. As soon as I finish that's
Better.
what I'm getting, and that's what I'm gonna
You
play.
better tell me you better tell me how you feel about it.
I know.
Game.
I'm gonna get there. Because I can't wait to try it. Okay, so yes, this strike is not that big compared to Breath of the Wild, but for a Destiny game, it felt really big to me. And I know, I'm sure the patrol, once we've seen it over and over again, it won't feel as big. But did any of y'all get a chance to see any of the fallen characters that were in there and interact with them, or
In the strike?
Yeah.
I may or may not have not played the strike yet.
Oh my gosh, dude! It's the way that the enemies move around in there and stuff. It is crazy. Like the invisible fallen felt really different, and all the different. They just looked like there was so much new stuff, and it made me really excited to jump into the final version of D2 and actually try everything out for the first time. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I just wanted to mention about the strike because I can't wait to jump into PvP with Hovey.
One thing I'll say is, like, I'm not really a graphics score type guy, but the updated graphics really do add something to it. Like, it does immerse you more, which is it was much needed for me because Destiny 1 felt so bland to me at times.
Yeah, that was one thing I remember saying right after the reveal. I thought it was cool that the first mission was at a space that you've already been in a million times, even though you've never fought there, because it really showed off how different the game looked, looking at the same thing that you look at every day updated. Do you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't just a new space. Like, seeing the tower looking like so much better.
It's not just like the graphics; it's the colors themselves. They just look more vibrant.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of stuff looked more vibrant.
Made, like, Destiny 1 looked good. I had no problems with it, but seeing, the tower in Destiny 2, it made Destiny 1 look like cartoony and like cheesy. It looks really good.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I felt really immersed in the world too because of those things, like that and the sound. Oh my gosh, all the different sound stuff. And I probably have more to say about it with PvP because the sound designers mentioned in one of the IGN sound videos how you can hear like enemies sounds better in PvP than you can than in PvE. I think like they turn up your enemies. They
were saying enemies are louder than like your teammates.
Yeah, exactly. And I felt like I could particularly notice it there. But even in the single player, like in the story or the strike, I could tell like just the sound of the machine gun, like the auto rifle felt so like everything just felt so new and so fresh. All the different sounds from mainly that new Vice vendor that is selling new guns. Like the sounds from that thing were crazy awesome. The sniper rifle, the scout, all of it, the auto rifle sounded so good.
Well, real quick before we move off of the first mission and opening and starting the game, we did put up a poll this week for the first time in a while, and the poll was, you just fired up the beta for the first time. What class did you choose? Surprisingly, I'm a little surprised. It started off much different, but 43% said they played Hunter first, followed by 33% Titan and 24% Warlock.
Way down there. I'm very surprised.
I'm also going to ask you guys, and I'm going to add a second part. Which one did you start with, and what is your favorite subclass now? So far, early impressions, obviously. Trey, we're going to go with you first. Oh, never mind. We're going to go with
Hovey. Let's go with Hovey.
Oh, no, I have to turn my mic back on. I started off with Hunter because Hunter Master Race. And I enjoyed it. I actually, I know a lot of people have been complaining about the whole spin or the shade step, whichever one you prefer. I actually think the spin's pretty nice for reloading.
Yeah.
But I will say after I played all three, I think Warlock is what I feel most comfortable on. The healing is really nice.
Yeah.
I can't stand playing as Titan because I just don't. Titans just never appeal to me. Like I hate the whole shield thing. It doesn't fit my play style. I enjoy having it on my team. I just don't like playing it.
Yeah. Triton?
I did go Hunter first, and that's the only thing I played. So, yeah, I guess I've enjoyed that the most.
All right, Goldie or Arcstrider?
I did both, actually, because we went into PvP, and I'm like, well, I just couldn't use the pole dancer at all. Like, I couldn't just get used to the one super I got. So I'm like, well, at least with Golden Gun, I'll know what I'm doing there. So I went back to that. So I did get to play both, but I only played them like one in one environment and one in the other, if that makes sense. So
yeah,
I didn't get a chance to like fully see like, is Golden Gun any good in PvE? No idea.
Dude, I want to break down those subclasses because there's some stuff about like Arcstrider. It seems like one of those classes that if the first time you play it, you're like, oh, this is gross. And then like the longer you play it, the more you can like hone in because it like has a complicated super where different melee combinations like do different moves and stuff. So it seems awesome. And the very first time I ever saw Hove pop it, like pop the super, there was a golden gun right around the corner. He popped the golden gun and Hove pops his Arcstrider, and I was like, oh, Hove's dead. Like, he's screwed. He dodges 2 golden gun shots point blank and then slaps the guy in the face. 6? What?
I don't know. He has 6. Just say it was 6. Come on, man.
It was 6. He dodged 6 shots and then hit the guy.
I just mashed circle and hoping he didn't hit me and then jumped and then mashed circle and then mashed melee. But
oh, my God.
It looked badass.
It looked awesome. But I started with the Titan. I meant to start as a Titan striker because that's what I figured for continuity's sake. That's what I was playing D1. I wanted that to go into D2 with it, but it started me with the Sentinel and I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, I'll do this, so I tried it out for a little while. Then I took that into PvP and then I switched to striker and I've just playing a ton of striker. Like I played all the different subclasses at this point, but striker is my favorite right now. I know like
it's weird.
It took me a while to get used to because I didn't think I'd like the shields, but now that I know that I can use them kind of like a sticky grenade that sits on the ground and whenever somebody comes in it damages them, I kind of use it to really block off a bunch of tight corridors and stuff, and I'm really enjoying the double grenades, which I don't know why they gave that to strikers, but it's amazing.
Yeah, that's dumb.
Yeah, I'd probably say strikers overall the best class right now.
It's good.
Very good.
Yeah. I did start as Space Captain America, and I do like it. I like the super. I know it's not great, but it's fun. It's kind of cool to use. I don't really care for just like the neutral game, just like without, just running around. I don't know, just not my thing. Mm-hmm. Arcstrider is my favorite. I do really like the pole dancer. I know a lot of people have, don't like it, say it's weak, whatever. And it definitely takes some getting used to it. It's definitely far from overpowered and has its issues, but it's a lot of fun once you learn some of those combos and you can do your dodge roll thing over this way and then over this way and then swipe everyone and slam the ground and kill 2 people. And it's really cool looking.
That doesn't surprise me, Hove, because I feel like you gravitate naturally to real pole dancers and enjoy their combos and moves and spinning. So I think that's very appropriate that you would end up there, though.
Oh my gosh.
I also would like to point out that Lego would, for now on, instead of being Lego Lay Flash, he'd like to be called Lego Lay Donged Blade.
This is the same thing that he said. Like he said, for sure, confirmation. We have Lego is gonna.
Oh no, you can play whatever you want. Your name is now just Lego Lay Donged Blade.
Gosh, this is crazy talk.
Also, I have a joke. Are you ready?
Yes.
A dong blade and a pole dancer walk into a bar. That's the end. But get it? Dong blade. Never mind.
Well, let's talk about these classes. Let's talk about PvP and these classes and how we're feeling about them all. Did you, Hovey? You said you started on Hunter and then switched to Warlock. You played Titan some, didn't really like it. What about the Warlock makes you feel so comfortable on it?
So like the number one thing a lot of people notice about Destiny 2 so far is it takes a dick year to recover. Mm-hmm. So having that heal down can be like really nice for starting a new 1v1 after you win your first one. So that's a big thing. I don't like the supers though.
I don't either.
I don't like any super except for probably strikers. Honestly, strikers like the only consistent one for me.
You just got to learn to spin that pole, Hovey.
Well, the thing is if you're playing against good players, which you probably don't, that have energy weapons.
Skill-based matchmaking, Rip.
Yeah. I am curious that if some of the other trees that we'll get to play might make us feel differently about the supers, because like for Void Walker, for instance, right now the one that is pre-selected for you is the Slova bomb.
It's so bad. Oh my god, I hate it.
It's very hilarious to watch on Twitter, but other than that,
I have a clip where I blinked into like 3 people and they like no problem would have been a triple in Destiny 1. I didn't kill a single one and I cried. Oh, it was terrible.
Maybe you're just bad.
I am. I was very sad about that. But what I was gonna say about the supers though is like pretty much every super is so easy to kill if you have energy weapons. Like you just get melted. And Striker is the only one where I feel like you're pretty quick and it lasts for so long. That's probably one of the only ones you can really be safe with.
Yeah, it also still has crazy vertical range, by the way, if no one noticed that. I popped a dong blade today and I floated up in the air and I went to throw a dong down at him and he smashed and I died and I was like, what?
I can't wait to use that later tonight when we're playing PvP and you pop your super. Throw the dong, Hove, throw it.
Well, Dong Blade is so badass looking, but it's so it's so hard to actually use successfully.
Yeah,
against people that are good.
That's what I'm curious about. I still think it would need some tweaks, but the other tree thingy path, specifically one of the perks is that your dongs track.
Extended dongs.
Yeah, you have extended tracking dongs.
Oh my gosh.
But I really like. I think the Dawn Blade. I'm gonna stop. The Dawn Blade neutral game felt really good to me. I still liked grenades and I liked the rifts and I liked that. But yeah, the supers suck.
Did y'all hear about the new Woodwalker glitch? The nades.
Yeah.
Infinite nades.
I think they already said that has a fix in the TWAB today.
I would hope so.
Yeah, because one of the things I know we'll get to the TWAB, but since we're talking about that, they said that like. This is, or maybe this was just a tweet. I don't remember, but they said this is a build. By the time you're playing a beta, it's a build that's a few months old. They've already fixed a lot of the things that we're telling them about.
Right.
Yeah. That doesn't mean don't tell them about it. Like they've been encouraging people like crazy to go to the forums, go to the help forum in particular, and put in whatever problem you have there, especially if you have it clipped or something. So we're like shaping the game in a way right now. I mean, yeah, they've got it pretty much done, but anything we can help them out with.
That's the point of the beta. Like everyone, we should have more and this and that. To be brutally honest, like a true beta, not what betas are today a lot of times, which is really just a demo to show off the game. But a true beta isn't for like the consumer; it's for the devs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they talk a lot about that in the TWAB, I feel like. And beforehand, in the last week's TWAB even. They were like, hey, heads up, this is what it's going to be, you know? So let's see. We talked about some of the supers, them being like different trees potentially. I do feel like the golden gun was pretty good still. I know that the cooldown was really short for it, but the tracking on it is insane. Like there was a guy clearly like way to the left of me and I just kind of swerved and I felt like I don't even have to try to hit people at all. It's very
you swerved on him?
Well, I'm just saying that I very much like it's very much made for like hip firing it almost like the way that you see Cade doing it. It's like, hey, we want you to play like this. I wonder if there's going to be like maybe exotic armor that extends it or something like that.
I need some exotic armor to extend my dongs.
Hove definitely does. Two pieces, double equip.
But I felt like if I used it smart, I could play with it all right, much better than using the Dawn Blade or using basically any other super other than Striker. I was struggling even with Sentinel to get that to do anything that I wanted it to do. So, but I felt like Striker and Golden Gun were the two that I could rely on. Hove Triton, did you have any that you felt like this was pretty good for a super or not really?
I really did like the pole dancer. It's fun. Like I know it still has its problems. It's still kind of weak, and apparently I only play crappy players because I'm a bad player. But no, it looks really cool. Like if you can pull some of the stuff off, it definitely looks badass.
Yeah,
it is.
yeah.
It is.
I like Striker. I think Striker has a really good all-around game because the super's good, lightning nades are good. Shoulder charge obviously isn't what it used to be, but at least it's still an extra utility.
Lightning nades are so strong. I don't understand. Like I get that they're easier to dodge now, but they still hurt so much.
The thing with the lightning nades, I feel like they toned down maybe you won't feel this way playing against them, but for me using them, I feel like they toned down the range a ton and narrowed the cone a bunch more too. Because I would put it on the wall like right next to B, and they'd be standing just a few feet from it, and it wouldn't hit them at all. And I was like, that's weird. And so I eventually switched to the pulse grenades because I realized, especially zoning off areas, or if you know someone's about to run into an area, just pre-throwing it right there, there's no way they're going to get out alive. Like it's basically a one-hit kill. I don't even have to shoot them. They'll die, or they won't understand what's going on because it flashes a lot faster than damage does.
Mm-hmm.
It's so funny comparing it to Destiny 1 because that thing flashes at least 3 times quicker. Like it's insane.
Yeah. It's like it's like a rave when you throw those things.
I haven't really looked at like the cone and everything, but I know one thing that's been really working for me well is on the control map. Why are you laughing? I'm
just the way you said it was funny.
Endless fail or whatever. The B point has that like pillar behind it. I found it works really well as people are capturing B to just throw lightning nade on that pillar, and you can kind of clear off B and make your way up there. So like I said, I kind of do that from an angle. But it seems to hit people up there, so I don't know if it's just maybe I have MLG grenade placement.
Maybe so. Maybe
just
so.
The best.
I think
that's
I have
probably not it. So let's roll
I probably just throwing them too high, like, and it's just the cone is like more narrow even in height, and so like if you don't have it at the right level,
yeah, man, it's all about the girth.
It's not gonna hit them.
Hovey, I wanted to ask you. You were saying about the hunter dodge roll thing with the reload that you like that. Is that more the utility of the reload, or do you think the actual dodge itself is useful? Because I think it kind of felt weak.
Mostly the reload.
Yeah.
Because,
okay.
I mean, sometimes it would save me. It's kind of like the Twilight Garrison with Warlocks. Twilight Garrison, it was like I was probably like successful 25% of the time with it. Usually they would still kill me, but with the roll, sometimes you'll be dueling someone. You kill them, and then you see someone coming around the corner, and you reload like that, and it's really useful.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Yeah, I was still using it a lot. I think probably too much to actually like evade like Shade Step, which I also didn't do. Like I didn't play Night Stalker much, so I wasn't even good at Shade Step. But it's definitely not as powerful as far as a movement ability as Shade Step.
I think it's so funny that they have the Shade Step glitch back in there.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe they let that slip in.
I know, right?
That is really funny. What about the maps as far as like, now we're at this, well, we could talk about 4v4, I'm sure too, and how that feels. But let's just talk about both, like 4v4, having that for all the game modes and the different maps and the modes that we have even. Like there's so much there to talk about as far as what feels good, how it feels so different. For me, it was shocking, like going in, not in a bad or good way, just in a like, wow, this is really different. Playing with how slowed down everyone is and how much longer it takes to recover, longer it takes to kill someone, but team firing is like so important. Not everybody has power ammo all the time. There's just so many changes to get used to. And agility being probably the hardest one for me, coming from a Destiny 1 Titan Twilight Garrison. Like I can get out of anything, I felt like, and I can't. And now it's like anytime that I would ever try to run away, it's like, don't go in the air, like slide away. Maybe you can get away, but your agility is so much slower. And playing 4v4, it felt much more competitive. Like I felt like, man, team play is almost more important than skill.
Honestly, I think it is. It's all about positioning now. Like, especially with the beta, because I don't know if y'all have noticed, but I think me and like everyone I've talked to have noticed that the hit registration can be really bad.
Yeah.
It can be pretty frustrating because your shots definitely aren't going where they should sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And with that in mind, like it's pretty much all teamwork at this point.
Yeah. Did you feel like that hit registration was a particular problem on the scout rifle? Because I feel like more than any other gun, that scout, whenever I'd use it, like I'd be right on him, and it's like, nope, those bullets aren't gonna go towards him. I was like,
Pretty
okay.
much everything, really.
Really? Okay.
Hand cannon. It's funny. Hand cannon. I felt like I hit all my shots long distance, but point blank, I just randomly wouldn't hit stuff, and I just don't.
Yeah.
It was this frustrating.
That does.
I do kind of see that.
Yeah.
I do like some of the speaking of hand cannons though, specifically, I do like some of the new perks that were on there. I'm a fan of that drop mag, the really fast reload, but it takes away ammo, which actually like makes a ton of sense because you always dump out all your ammo, but somehow it's magically back in there, and now it's not. And what's the other one? The minuet, I think, has that first shot has extra range and accuracy, and it does like the luck in the chamber thing. I like that too. That's a good way, like that's a good one to like win a gunfight with, because as we were saying, like how much if your hit registration's on, you hit that first shot, you got a lead.
The noises for all the PvP stuff, I feel like really help you figure out what's going on in the map. The one that gets me like excited every time I hear it, because I love the sound of it so much, even though I never main it, but it's for you, the Arc Strider bolt nade. Every time somebody throws one of those, the arc bolt, it makes this weird like sci-fi noise that is so distinct, and I'm like, oh, that sound is awesome. It also has a distinct sound for the tracking skip nades too. They sound like really annoying as far as like if you're getting chased by one or something like that. But I just think the sound changes on those like make them so much more interesting than just a typical like noise you would hear playing PvP. It's like it's one of those things that I just appreciate a lot. I don't know, just hearing those. But jumping back to what you were saying about the mods and stuff like that, or perks even, I loved inspecting a weapon and seeing so many mod slots or shader slots available for every single weapon. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, are we going to have that many shaders for each gun or that many mods available? Like it surprised me how many there were. It was confusing at first for me. I was like, what is this system? I don't understand. But I got it towards the end. I was like, wow, this is just a lot of empty slots.
Yeah, I mean, it really kind of, assuming that we get to use, I can't imagine you can put, because there's 14 slots, you can put 14 mods on a gun. It's got to be some sort of combination or something.
I think you like probably just pick one of the mods that you want. Like you can just hold so many.
I'd hope it's more than one, maybe 2 or 3 or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
But either way, like that just gives you, even though we've talked about the set perk rolls and everything, if you have that many different options of things to change your gun around and you can do it at will, I think that actually would be kind of cool.
Yeah, that is awesome. I like that. Although I don't like how the default shader on the Titan ship is a hunter icon. I was like, what? What is this?
That's because Titans suck ass.
Triton, you didn't get to say much about like how you were feeling about PvP. How did it feel for you just jumping in right away? Anything about like your class or even the 4v4 and the maps, the way the game feels?
Well, it was really hard to kind of follow up, what Ho was saying, only because, he's so good at filling empty slots that it's just one of those things that I'm not really sure that I'm going to be able to make a lot of relevant comments to. But for me, the PvP
I was there for
pretty
Triton's
fun.
first time. It didn't last long.
It was with Ho, if he would know. But it didn't really bother me at all. I mean, we're playing fours, we're playing with friends, and I just kind of approach it as like having fun. You don't know, or at least I didn't know, like any of the maps, so you're just kind of like hoping to like get to an objective, like, oh, where's B, and you run and you hit a wall, instead of getting right there, knowing the best path. So in that regard, it was okay. I think I used the Hunter auto rifle for the longest time. I tried switching things up after a while too, just to get a feel for the other guns. I think I used that energy hand cannon. I think you get like the exotic one you get in the first mission. I think I used that a little bit.
That one's fun.
Here and there. So overall, I liked it. The supers definitely bothered me because I think in the 3 games that I ended up playing with you guys, I only got 2 supers, I think, and I died right before I used mine in the countdown game, so I didn't even get to use it at all in that game. And we lost 5-6, so the game went pretty long. So it wasn't like you sweep somebody and you don't get to use it. I mean, it went for about as long as you can. So to not be able to use the super was a little frustrating. It's not like Destiny as I remember it, but I was pretty open to the fact that it was going to be different, and then furthermore open to the fact that it was going to be a beta, so probably could be very different even still. So I think my bigger thing with the 4s is, and we talked about a little bit, I want to get Hovey's take on it, is, when you came into Destiny 1, I think Hovey, on the last podcast you mentioned, thinking about being competitive, thinking about, taking it seriously and everything else, and then just ultimately being like, hey, I want to have fun. When you see the structure of the PvP, and as of right now, we know that it's going to be 4s. Maybe there's like 6 playlists coming out and things like that. But when it looks like a lot of the PvP is to be more balanced, to be more standardized, to be more along the lines of a competitive environment, or at least provide that framework, does that change your mindset at all going into Destiny 2 as to, how you're going to stream, how you're going to present content or anything like that? Or are you still going into this the same way, thinking, hey, it's Destiny 2, it's still Destiny, I just want to have fun?
That's a hard question because a lot of things have changed. I think this game's going to be more fun to play with friends, but not as fun solo. Yeah. Because in Destiny 1, you could go in solo and you could hold your own even against good teams. But in this game, like if you're playing against a good team and you're solo, you're going to get team shot nonstop. You have no chance. So I think it's going to be more fun taking it seriously. But at the same time, it's going to be less fun casually. That's how I feel at the moment. As far as content goes, y'all know I love to snipe. But right now, there's just no reason to snipe.
Yeah.
Like, fusion rifle's so good. I just, like, when the beta came out, when the Destiny 1 beta came out, like, I had so many snipe clips, and it felt great. And now I'm just like, I haven't touched sniper maybe twice. Because there's just no point.
There's no way that doesn't get changed, right? Like, there's something that's going to be changed, whether it's like ammo count for it or something like for that fusion rifle, because it's insanely good.
I mean, it might just be the weapons we have, and it might be the map, because that map is pretty tight.
That's true.
People will argue, they're like, yeah, you can pick up sniper and watch B, and it's like, you can, but I'd rather have a fusion and push up and be more
and still snipe people. Yeah,
and still snipe people, exactly. So.
And there's just more of a chance that if I pick up fusion rifle ammo, that I'm gonna get a kill with every one of those like bolts.
Absolutely.
And you'll be more useful to your teammates too, because you'll actually be a team shot. So.
Yeah.
Well, I was just say, while we're talking about power weapons and power ammo, how do you feel that whole economy has worked so far?
I like it, except for when True Vanguard and Mana take every single box. Oh, Lord.
That is Hove's objective. Hove, for me, like, he just goes and he's like, no, Lego's not getting it. I'm not going to let Lego get it. That's my one goal in this match, is to not let Lego get power ammo. And I didn't even have a fusion rifle yet. I was like, Hove, I'm not even going for it.
What's another thing? What? I was going to say, that's another thing. In Countdown, there's almost never a reason to use sniper, like, ever. Because if you're up 3-2, like, say you have 3 people alive, they have 2 people alive, and this is a good example of what happened earlier. TV was trying to do this. We would have easily won, but he tried to use the fusion sniper, the linear one.
Yeah.
If he just had a primary out, we would have team shot them and won, but he missed his shots, and then we lost. So it's big risk for, like, no reward, really.
Yeah, I agree.
So, yeah.
That linear fusion is fun, though. I hope that we have reasons to use it, because I feel like whenever you're getting flinched and you're shooting that gun, it just doesn't care about the flinch. It's like, nope, headshot. Like, if I was good with it, it doesn't happen all the time because I'm not actually a good sniper. So it was difficult, but when I am lined up.
I haven't personally haven't had as many issues with it as I thought I was going to, even though I still am iffy about it. But I definitely see, and it goes to the point that, Hovey was saying about playing solo and casually isn't going to be as fun, because I still can see and have seen where, if you go into a match by yourself, maybe you're matched with 3 other people, whether they're on a team or not, you may never get power ammo. There's the chance that you may play all day without getting to use any of your power weapons. And, at times, I don't know. I want to. Like, I want to use a fusion, or I want to use a shotgun or snipe, or maybe not snipe right now, but
yeah. I was going to ask y'all about the fun factor of not having special. That was something you were very concerned about, Hove. Just like starting D1 with sniper rifle ammo, that was like a key thing that you were like, oh yeah, I start with the sniper and I love sniping, so this is what's fun for me, and you don't get that in this game. And like you said, you may not get it all day if you're not actively trying to get it. And same goes for supers kind of, but even more, like even less so. Like Triton was saying, he went a 5-6 game, never got a super. Like, I feel like that's something that, like, I like the balance of it, but if supers are worse, like HOVEY's saying, none of them really are that great, you know, and are so easy to take on with energy weapons. Why not give us supers just a little bit faster? Like, at least let everyone have one a game, kind of balance, you know. I don't know. Those are just kind of my thoughts. What do y'all think about the fun factor of, like, not with the power ammo, HOVE, your concerns and everything?
I mean, I don't think that we're the right group to probably ask that question to be honest. Like, as I kind of sit down and we talk about like
podcast
fun. I mean, here we are in year 3 having a podcast about a beta, and we've had podcasts where it's like, you know, we're talking about speculative things and all of that. So, I mean, I think we're going to give it a chance. I think what HOVEY's talking about is, you know, when he says, you know, it's going to be harder to just jump in there solo. I mean, and that's for somebody who understands I'm going to have to team fire. I'm going to have to do these things. If it's just somebody who's trying to give this game a chance, and all their whole PvP experience is, I don't get to ever really snipe. I don't really get to use a fusion rifle or a grenade launcher or any other things. And then also I just get team fired to death or something like that. I'm going to say from that perspective, it's probably not too fun. And for any one of us who's ever really talked to somebody and you just trying to explain Destiny's great, I'm in this clan, I have so much fun. And then I've met some people that are like, yeah, I gave it a try for a couple weeks and it was okay. And you're just like, well, why aren't you connecting with this the same way I am? And you realize then because it's not, you know, not everyone got to get past some of those barriers that we did. And so I don't think it's a great thing. I mean, if that to me is not going to be fun. It's going to be fun for me because I'm going to get to play with established friends. I know when most people are going to be on. I mean, I live in Host Basement, for goodness sake, so we're always on together. So there's that element. But at the same time, if I'm just a person giving this game a chance, and I think there's a little bit more skepticism for Destiny 2 than there was Destiny 1 for, like, a, you know, the common crowd, because I think they probably just hear all the negatives. I don't know if I'm going to have very much fun never getting to do like 2 things and just getting absolutely team fired as I try to even figure out a map.
Well, another appeal to it, and I actually prefer how it plays right now, because I play Halo and I rarely use power weapons. I was always like a BR guy, and I enjoyed that. But the thing is, a lot of people like flashy plays. They like montage clips. And in this game, it's going to be really hard to get consistent montage clips, especially if you have SBMM in there, because you never want to use a sniper, really.
Yeah.
Well,
kind of a drawback.
I think my big issue with it isn't even so much that, you know, it won't be fun or it can't be fun, you know, because like you said, in Halo, you didn't use that stuff very often. I guess my issue would or could be coming from D1, where that stuff was so prevalent, whether it was overpowered or crazy or whatever. That was part of what made Destiny, the big supers and the flashy plays. And, you know, I think last time you were on, HOVEY, you were talking about getting a triple with no land, that it's so much easier than like a triple snipe in Halo, but it looks so much more badass.
It does, yeah.
You know? And that's the kind of stuff that, you know, obviously is going to be missing. And while that doesn't necessarily on its own make things less fun or ruin anything, it's just something that made Destiny that's now missing.
Yeah, I agree. Because you definitely feel more badass in Destiny 1 so far.
Yeah.
Especially with Nova Bomb. Jesus Christ.
Nova Bomb.
Oh my gosh.
You mentioned that the last time maybe like 3 podcasts ago about like actually HOVEY's montage and how like cool that is and how you can set it to music.
I
and
would
all those
never
things
say
that make Destiny,
make
kind of Destiny. Like, and I love watching Destiny montages. I do think they're cool. Yeah. And when I watch like a CS:GO montage one time, even like the best players in the world, it's always like kind of like a thigh shot snipe. It's like super fast, and I mean, and that's like a great play in that environment. It's like
it may be more like technically impressive and for people who know the game and play it, but it isn't something you can just show to the general public, somebody who doesn't know it, and say, check out how badass this is.
I show your montage to the general public.
I don't think it makes people want to jump in as much. You know, and that's just one little part of getting people to play it. Don't get me wrong.
That's kind of why I think Halo's dying, because it is a very competitive game, and it's can be fun for a competitive person to like play and get into it and get the teamwork down, but watching it is not nearly as exciting as probably Destiny 1 even. So
and I think that's why, you know, no matter how bad the meta was, and how much people like hated playing Destiny at times, it was still fairly high up on the Twitch directory. And I think I've mentioned this before. I think it's almost always been the highest console only game on Twitch because people like watching it. And I think it's losing some of that.
Do you know what does get me really excited and hyped still despite all of that?
Can I guess?
Yeah, go ahead, guess.
Never. That was a bad, dirty joke.
Oh, okay. Well, so the like being at GC and seeing that live tournament of Destiny 1, you know, even though yes, is a lot faster than what we're playing right now in the beta in Destiny 2, but thinking about like how close some of the games have been that I've played and the comebacks that we've had. Like we had some games where we were down so many points and we're like, okay, let's actually play like a team, bring it together, and then use our supers really wisely when they come up. Like it was like it doesn't look montage worthy, but I can imagine in a competitive setting, like if we were in a tournament setting, like had stands of people the way when Lumi was popping golden guns and stuff like that. Like it were those kind of plays, and but it looked slower, but it was still like you.
Are you talking in D2?
I'm talking about D2. Yeah, I'm saying that like it's hard to montage it, but in the moment, if you know what's happening and how a team's working together, it looks incredible. But yes, the montage factor is very much not there right now.
Yeah, well, did you all watch the tournament, all of it at the?
Most of it. Yeah.
Did you all see that minute clip of Lumi when he was on?
Yeah, that was gross.
Yeah. You'll never see that in D2
ever. Exactly, and that's what I was gonna say. Like 90% of the things that drew reactions from the crowd during that tournament, you're never gonna see again.
Well, it's fun, but people do get excited for team. Like, have you ever watched Dota or League of Legends? Like, it's hard for me to watch it because I don't understand what's happening, but people go crazy just because it's good teamwork. So it can work. It's just it's going to be hard to see how.
It's not as I don't. Maybe the term casual isn't right, but it's not as like general public casual friendly to draw someone in.
Yeah. I agree.
But like Lego, like you were saying, we just had that game right before we jumped on here with Rally and Monk, where we were down 4-0 in whatever the hell that was. Countdown.
Yeah.
And we were like, all right, come on, like let's go here, let's do it. We came back and won and just won
is insane.
6 out of the next 7. And it was great, but I just don't think that translates to a casual viewer as much. That's all.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it's because I know the game, but I was just thinking about how watching the tourney in person, like whenever somebody just got a double kill, like people were cheering and like, oh, there it is, you know? And I feel like there'll be more opportunities for that whenever there's only 2 sets of power ammo and someone picks up like whatever that power ammo is. And I don't know, you know, they'll make adjustments to fusion rifles or whatever, hopefully make snipers more viable to where they're actually worth using or a map that works better for them, and seeing like people who are good with those go off with them. And like, it would just be really exciting. I feel like but you're right. It's nowhere near the crazy like montage kind of cheering you would get in D1. So I am, and this is just the beta, you know, we still have more to see. But at this point, yeah, I definitely feel those feelings as well.
And that's not even a bad thing. It's just a different thing. And it's not what Destiny 1 was. So that's all. Moving on from that, the one other thing before we go too far, we were talking about, you know, power ammo, which my final thing, you know, I had the issues with the way they were going to do it. I haven't noticed it as much because I'm not thinking about it. Like, because you do still have 2 weapons to switch back and forth. It doesn't seem to bother me as much as I thought it was going to. I still, you know, miss sniping and shotgunning and whatever, but it's not as big of a deal. But the other thing, we kind of touched on it for a second, but supers definitely, in my opinion, need adjusted. Like the cooldown.
The cooldown.
It's like the worst feeling when you're like, oh, I just got my super and the game's over.
It's like you could have a good game and you'll barely get your super.
If your team has a good game, you're not going to get your super.
Exactly.
Like, period.
Yeah.
And the golden gun, you say you like that, Lego? The thing I have about golden gun is, like, in D1, if you mess up your golden gun, it's pretty bad because it lasted so long.
Yeah.
And I think the other skill tree will last longer.
Yeah.
Right? But the current one, you pop it. What do you have, like 6 seconds? 4 seconds?
Yeah. It's very short.
It's real short.
People are smart and they disperse and they hide around a corner and you try to challenge it. If they jump over you or anything like that and you lose them, you're dead pretty much.
Yep, it's over.
Yeah.
It's really frustrating.
take everything I say about Golden Gun with like a huge like grain of salt, because I am coming from like mainly like 90% Titan player from D1, so I like hardly even touch Golden Gun. So I'm only like saying just what I know basically from D2 almost. Even.
I hate saying this because it kind of sounds elitist, but I've seen clips on Twitter where people are like, Golden Gun Breaker, and they'll pop it and they'll kill like 4 people at B like instantly, and it's like that team they're playing is obviously really bad, because no one would ever do that. Like, would not just sit there, and it's like, yeah, it can be cool if you're playing bad people, but in a more ideal situation, it's not going to be that useful.
Yeah, I definitely see that.
I mean, I think. What do you guys think as far as a basis for fixing that? Do you think they should do just decrease the overall cooldown, give more super energy for kills? Like, what do you think would be the best way to go about that? Because I think we're all in agreement that we need to get supers fast.
It's so hard to balance though, because I'm happy that we don't have as many.
Right.
Like, I don't want it to be anything like Stormcallers were.
Well, one thing I kind of thought. What do you guys think about this? It's probably a terrible idea, but something that'll help you get it fast the first time, but not necessarily let that snowball. Because if you make it, strictly on more super energy per kill, you're going to have people who are having a good game get multiple supers, and the other people are still going to get none.
Yeah.
What did you think maybe about your first super in a PvP match having whatever cooldown, a minute? I don't know. I'm just picking a number. Okay. And you can get super energy to get it faster. After you use that super, your next cooldown starts base minute and a half, 2 minutes, whatever. And they like extend. And that way everyone will get one somewhere in the middle of the game, but you really have to kill it to get a second one because the base is a lot slower. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you know
part of the big problem right now is everyone gets their super at like the same time.
Yeah.
So it's like you don't have that like sense of urgency to use it if you're having a good game, because you don't really. They probably have theirs too, even if you are doing way better.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of, I don't know. It's really awkward actually.
Well, I mean, like I said, if they gave more super energy per kill, that would let them be spaced out as far as player to player, because the people who are having a better game are going to get it
right. But I don't know how they
quicker.
I don't know how they could do that without causing that like effect like you saw in trials, where people would start having way too many too quickly compared to the other team.
Yeah,
I know it's hard to balance. It really is.
Well, that's all right.
I feel like
I thought that's why like this, like I said, after you get the first one, really extend the base. You know what I mean? Like that might kind of.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. It's an interesting thought.
It is interesting. I feel like I sometimes I like wonder why we have orbs in Destiny, since like that is like basically snowball effect like built in. Mm-hmm. And if we just took the orbs out and had to where kills got you a little more super energy than they do already, then that's the reward like for getting your super up faster and not just picking up orbs. I get like you want to help your teammates out. Maybe there would be certain defensive supers that like, Defender Titan, how it would make orbs, stuff like that would be fine maybe. But I don't know. Like, I just feel like orbs in themselves like are a snowball effect mechanic. It doesn't really matter right now because the rounds don't last long enough for them to make a difference, and we don't get our supers until so late. But I don't know how you would fix that other than just getting your supers faster. I don't really have a remedy for what. I do think that we should get them faster somehow, though. Just be able to use them in a game. Like, even if you're just doing mediocre, you should have it at some point,
Right.
I do wonder if they intentionally did it, like to where some people just might have it at the very end for that clutch play, but I don't know. That seems so forced. I don't know.
Like HOVEY was saying, they almost all get them at the same time. So,
yeah,
that's kind of awkward, actually.
Yeah,
I'm with you. Yeah, it is.
Well, speaking of snowball effect, though, something that is snowballing right now that I've noticed is in like high level control play. If a team gets control of the power weapon, and they both have fusions, it can be so hard to break through because
agreed.
It's just so much better than everything else. So that can be pretty annoying.
I wonder if they will end up just toting down fusion, because do you feel like, say if fusions weren't in the mix and it was either that grenade launcher, one rocket, or sniper ammo, do you feel like it would snowball as much?
I don't know, because I like using the fusions. I don't really want to complain about it. It's fun.
It is
it's just that snowball effect definitely is there, and I don't know if it's necessarily a bad thing, because that happens in Halo 2. You get control of the power weapons and you start to dominate. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like, personally for me, I feel like it's all right if maybe they made like I know we don't want to nerf fusions, but they're just so easy to use at range right now that I'm like, if they just tone those down a bit, like that, it wouldn't have as big of a snowball effect, and it would still be fun to use. I feel like even if they were toned down in some way, you know.
I mean, if we're speaking like specifically in the competitive sense, I've always thought fusion rifles were a bad weapon because there's RNG built into it. Like a sniper, you always hit a headshot, like it's pinpoint. Whereas fusion, sometimes you'll get that snipe, and other times it'll barely hurt him or it'll miss the goal. So
yeah,
as much as I enjoy using them, I don't know if they're like a really good competitive weapon.
That's true. Well, we were talking about loadouts earlier. Like as far as like Hove, you said you don't feel as dissatisfied not having power ammo all the time because you have those two weapons to swap in and out of. What are y'all's go-to weapons y'all have been using that you really like now that you played the beta for a little bit?
Pulse hand cannon.
Yeah? Which hand cannon are you using?
It depends. I either use the Nightshade in the kinetic and then the Minuet in energy, or if I want to just switch, even though it makes no real difference, the Better Devils kinetic and then the Nurgle.
I hate that thing. I hate explosive rounds. I just feel so like inconsistent for some reason.
Maybe that's why that one doesn't. I don't know. I like that pulse better though. The Nurgle, is that right?
Both of the pulses are really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. They're very good. What about you, Hobie?
I love pulse hand cannon. Sorry.
I think my favorite. I really like a few of the ARs are actually really good. They meld really well. AR pulse. Sometimes I like using SMGs with pulse. Usually every loadout has a pulse in it though.
Yeah, they're really good right now. Do you like SMGs though?
When they work. So that's another one that I feel like the hit reg is just so random. Like sometimes I melt them instantly. Other times I feel like I'm right on them, and it's not like I'm far away from them. I'm close to them. So I don't think that's the problem. I think it's a beta, and it has those problems.
Absolutely.
Triton, what about you?
Well, like I said, I've only really used the Hunter, and I've not really gotten any weapons besides like the mission ones. So I used the auto rifle. I toyed around with a few things. I think I did snipe for a small period of time on that control map, but I don't really have anything to go to. I will say that I was getting killed by that scout rifle a lot that the Hunter has. Is kind of like the second weapon.
The weird like fire rate one.
Yeah, so I started trying to use that, and I was just awful with it. So I just kind of dismissed that one after a minute or two of that countdown match. But I haven't really got a chance to use a ton of things.
Cool. Yeah, I've been using, I feel like, everything except for sidearms. And
I used the sidearm a couple times. And
the scout. Those are the two. And I even used the scout for a little while, but then it just got so inconsistent. I couldn't take the way that the hit registration was working on it. And basically everything else is really fun for me. The pulse, the hand cannon, the auto rifles, the SMGs. I'm loving playing with all of them. So
I like that every gun feels like they have like an actual use too. Like SMGs, you got to be up in their face. ARs are pretty good medium to close. And then pulse is more like far range.
Yeah.
Scouts. I like how you actually have to use other weapons. You can't just always use a hand cannon. You know?
Yes. It's really fun having those ranges, having those particular, like, these ones are really good in this kind of situation even or whatever. I really like that. And that Titan exotic auto rifle is very fun. Like, it is ridiculously fun to pre-charge that thing. It's disgusting.
So I mean, we're talking about this topic for a little bit, but I'm just curious as we're kind of wrapping up this PvP and kind of like who's it for per se. So let's just assume for a second, and we're only talking about one side of the house, but that the supers aren't adjusted that much and the skill-based matchmaking stays and some of the other things that we are experiencing in the beta, let's just say those things move forward a little bit. If we think that the game kind of becomes a little bit less casual friendly, and if skill-based matchmaking, which is, you know, in the Destiny community, not been received overall like positively as a generality, you know, who is the PvP 4 at that point. And then I kind of think, well, this would only be technically what, year 4 for a 10-year game. If it shuts out a lot of people, not even halfway through the entire life cycle, you know, is that a good move or not a good move? I guess just kind of pose that question to you guys. If it doesn't change, who's the PvP for? And is that good in year 4 for something that potentially is going to be 10 years, especially if it keeps getting more narrow?
They're pushing for a competitive. They are. I mean, it's blatantly obvious. And I know some of the people at Bungie that worked on it. I know who they are, and they love competitive gaming. So they're definitely pushing for that. But I do hope they put in playlists like Big Team Battle or something where you get supers quick, or you always have heavy ammo. That'd be really cool for the casual aspect.
Yep.
Dude, that would be so much fun. If there was a mayhem that you just always had power ammo and supers, like for 4s, that'd be really fun.
One thing you mentioned that this has come up now for, 2.5 of the 3 years that Destiny's been out. Skill-based matchmaking isn't going away. Like, they're going to keep skill in there in some manner. Like, right. I'm so tired of hearing about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, we should talk about the TWAB a little bit with their responses to the skill-based matchmaking and all that, because they said, how it worked, it being connection-based and then skill-based, basically the same thing that's in D1.
Also, I'm just looking at chat. I'm really sorry. I think Rally just beat Wendler's ass in the beta. That's what I'm looking at, which makes me happy. I'm sorry. That's all I needed to say. Go ahead, Hovey.
Wait, what happened?
I just saw Wendler say to Rally, fuck you and your 4-stack, and then Rally's talking about who Wendler had on his team. So it sounds like Rally beat Wendler's ass.
Wendler's one of those guys that'll pick up sniper when you're up. It's like a 2v1. He'll try to snipe the guy instead of team shotting. That's Wendler. That's the exact type of the guy I was talking about earlier.
That seems right.
But well, talking about the SPMM though, like as a player, I actually don't mind it. I like competitive. If I barely win or barely lose, that's awesome. But as a content creator, I don't know how to feel about it, because I can't get those highlights like I used to. It's just not going to happen as consistent.
Well, it's funny though, because you say that, and this is just your opinion, I understand, but as a player, you don't mind it. As a content creator, it's not ideal. And it's funny because you also hear the complaint that, which is, I don't find to be true really, but Bungie only listens to content creators and streamers, and they do everything. You guys change the game and blah, blah, blah. When it's can't have it both ways. Do you know what I mean? Like,
right. Yeah, no, completely understand.
And to be completely honest, I know that, not everybody wants to be sweaty all the time, but really some aspect of skill in matchmaking, I hate to call out any group of, and it's not really a group of people, but I feel like skill-based matchmaking, to a point, the only people it really hurts are the top end, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to name anybody, but most of the people that whine about it are just wanting to go in and get clips for their YouTube.
Right.
They want to get breakers. No breaker, no clip, whatever that is.
Right. So when you're the best player, your range of possible people with no skill-based matchmaking is from sweaty to I beat their ass.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you're at the bottom or even the middle, your range is sweaty to I get my ass beat. So, there's no real, like, you're always going to have a tough game if you're not real good, if it's just connection-based. Where skill-based, at least it's giving everybody a chance. And yeah, I know that sucks for the higher-end players, the top 1%, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
But that is a small portion.
Right. And it's kind of funny looking at like the community of Destiny versus something like Halo, because I can put up clips, from trials, and it might not be against the best players, but if it looks pretty, people like it. But the players might be ass. Whereas in Halo, like if you aren't getting good clips against good players, they don't care. Like you can get the best clip ever, and they won't care if it's not against competitive guys. So it's kind of funny how that works between
Interesting.
Oh yeah, I mean, if I did this just briefly one time, but just watching different people's trials highlights and even like some of the stuff that I've clipped, some of the ones that, if you really think about it, that are more impressive aren't as flashy, but you got to look like when 90% of your highlights, not you, just in general, are when you're up 4-0 in a game, clearly you're like that team is outclassed.
Right, and I'll sneak in a clip that's not as flashy, and it'll be like the score will be like 3-3, and I'm like, that's a good play because I clutched it to get us closer to winning. Whereas some of these really flashy plays that we're up 4-0, people like go crazy, and it's like I feel bad as a player because I'm like, that's not really that important.
Like
really,
what you don't know is none of those three guys fired a shot the entire game.
Yeah,
they didn't know how to pull the trigger. Like
exactly.
So yeah, I know that topic's been going on forever, but I don't know. That's just one thing that has always kind of bugged me about the whole skill-based thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, speaking of flashy clips, I don't think we're going to do like a huge community question section, but you were talking about how flashy the NLB looks. We did have a question on Twitter from Caleb Iverson saying, if Destiny 2 doesn't have NLB, if Destiny 2 doesn't have NLB, are you going to be disappointed, HOVEY? Because that is pretty flashy having an NLB. What do you think?
I don't really care. I know most people probably are like, really, you don't care? But I just, like I said, man, I came from a Halo background.
Yeah, I love how
you VR back then.
Yeah, I love how you phrase that BR. Like, I bet a lot of people who know you for the NLB stuff don't know that you love just using a BR in Halo, and that I didn't know that. That's awesome. So I feel like this is. Do you feel like this is more at home for you now that it's switched a little bit to not the power ammo sniping stuff, just having that go-to primary?
It does bring me back to like my old ways, which is also a bad thing because I've become more snappy at teammates. Why was no one with me at B? Where's the team shot? Stuff like that.
But it's important though, those team shots.
Yeah, but sometimes I become a little too bitchy. But I would like to see NLB as like an actual power weapon. That would be cool. Where it wouldn't be broken. Cool. It would just be a different type of sniper. That would be cool.
That's true. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that's one thing that I think they've done well with all the power weapons, except for snipers right now. We've talked before that because they're so limited, you can make them a little bit crazy and extra powerful because they're not out there all the time. And it seems like shotguns got a lot of their nerfs taken away, right? Precision damage again, the range seems good.
Right,
but going back to the flinch.
You can't really make snipers that crazy good though. You're gonna have to get a headshot to get the kill. They can't make a sniper where a body shot's a kill,
No, but I mean, like, even all the nerfs they did, like the flinch still seems to be there, and some of the handling speeds and stuff like that. Like, even like year one snipers, do you know what I mean? Like, they wouldn't be overpowered now, I don't think, right?
Right, but the thing is like with the maps, they're so tight knit, and if they continue that trend, there's really no reason not to use a shotgun or a fusion rifle because you're going to be sliding around close quarters. And your probability of hitting like a quick scope with sniper is a lot less than a fusion rifle,
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
I can't see them like making any maps that much bigger than the ones that we have here, because if it's all 4v4, there's like no chance of any big team stuff at the moment. Why would a map be any bigger than the ones we've seen?
Right.
And I agree with all that. It's just funny that they say, do you remember when they first started nerfing snipers and they said they're not supposed to be, people were using them too much up close because they were too fast. You're supposed to sit at the back of the map and have a long lane to snipe down. Well, they took all that away. So what if you keep snipers the way they are? They're like Cody said, there's no reason to use them.
Yeah, let's just put it this way. From what I've played, I think I've been sniped maybe a handful of times.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I get sniped, I'm like, that's cool. You're down 50 points.
You're not helping your team out much. Yeah. I feel that. Do we have anything from the TWAB we want to pull out here? We did just get a TWAB a few hours ago.
Not necessarily with the TWAB, but even though you said we weren't going to do a big community questions, there were two more on Twitter I want to ask real quick because one's easy and one Botbuster took a lot of time to write out a note and post it because it was too long for a tweet. So I want to ask that one. First one, Big Tater Tot would like to know, this one's for HOVEY. Will we see a face cam in D2 so we can stare into your sexy eyes and lust over butt touches from you, Mr. HOVEY?
Probably, yeah. I'll probably do a face cam eventually.
Oh, you heard it here first. Maybe, probably not.
And the other question, it is a little bit long, but I did think it was a good question. He said, sorry about the length, but PvP is where I spend most of the time. This is Botbuster 7. He says, teamwork has become a very important part of D2 PvP, but going in solo is not the most enjoyable experience. We have touched on some of this. Of course, Bungie has done this to promote playing with friends, making new friends, and joining clans. Previously, they also stated that they want players to be able to play this game however they wish, whether it be solo or with a fire team. Do you prefer the heavy-based teamwork PvP direction Bungie is going, or when you could go into D1 PvP and get 30 kills fire team or now?
I kind of touched on this earlier. Like
Yeah.
as a player, I prefer the teamwork aspect. I think it adds more tactic to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think it's important for the community to have that solo gameplay, because there are a lot of people that just want to go in and feel strong, and they can drop 30 a game, whatever. It's going to be really hard to do that now. So I do hope there's different playlists that will kind of accommodate for that.
And that kind of brings me to, he has a small follow-up. How would you look to improve the D2 PvP experience of people going in solo? Do you have any ideas for that?
I would like to see a playlist, whether it be 4v4 or 6v6, whatever, where you can only enter as solo. Like you can't enter with teams.
The freelance playlist.
Did they have that? Yeah, they had that in Destiny 1. I didn't really play it that often, but
it was fun.
That would be really nice. That would help.
They brought it in during a declining population too, which I don't think helped much.
Yeah.
In D1.
I hope they throw it in at the beginning, because it kind of sucks not having a rumble, something you can do solo and improve on.
I just I think it's funny because we all kind of agreed, and Bot asked about it being so much more teamwork based and harder to go in solo. When they did mention, I'm pretty sure right at the reveal, the keynote thing, that Destiny 2 is a game that anybody can just pick up. And get good at, and I don't feel like it is like that as much. I mean, you can run it, but you can't go in and be successful like you used to be able to.
I agree.
If you run solo and you run to, Triple Rec and his team, you're going to get smashed.
Mana, Tashed, and
or even I'm saying, like, even if you run into people who are just average, and you're just just playing with a team that doesn't have any communication, and you run into a team that has average communication, that I feel like you're going to get wiped by them probably.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's where like the teamwork aspect comes in. If you have good teamwork, you don't have to have a crazy shot.
Yeah.
Lego your mic.
Yeah. Your mic's kind of crispy.
This happens to Lego every once in a while. But no, one other thing from, I believe it was in the TWAB, that I wanted to bring up, and it kind of just goes to all the points we've been making. Because, a lot of things we've talked about have mostly been the beta, what we liked, what we didn't like, what we would like to see changed. That they mentioned that, this build, a beta build is something that is actually a month or months old. And a lot of the things that we've already provided feedback on, they've already changed, and they already knew, and it's changed. It's done. So I think that's important to remember. Some of the really obvious things that people are complaining about, not even complaining, good criticism.
It's not even just that. It's the fact that we only have a couple weapons of each type, Like, if you remember the D1 beta, everyone was like, man, hand cannons suck. ARs are amazing, and they were good. And pulses suck. And it's like we didn't have other ones to compare it to. Little did we know Hawkmoon was insane. Last Word was insane. Thorn was insane.
Yeah, all the hand cannons.
Like legendary ones were good, but the green and blue, or the green and white ones sucked. So it's like things change. I know we have legendaries this time, but there's a big difference between IS Luna and some of those really crappy legendary hand cannons. So, and the perks, we don't really know what those are going to be like. So
right, I do like some of the. I mentioned before, I like the fact that they changed up some perks, even though some of them are just renamed, like explosive rounds. It just has a different name.
And one of the things I've been complaining about a lot is like the pulse rifle. Sometimes I'll be shooting down range, and I'm like, this thing feels inconsistent. Like sometimes I just feel like my shots are going nowhere, and I think that might be because the recoil pattern could be better with certain perks. So who knows how that's going to be?
That's true. Yeah, I mean it's still a big wait and see. But as far as coming up on the end of the beta, are you gonna keep playing? Just straight through, do you think? Or are you going to try to mix in some other stuff, not get burnt out?
For the beta?
Yeah.
I'll probably just keep playing it, honestly.
Keep playing it. Now, is that more honest answer? Is that more just the stream, that's what people want to see, or are you really enjoying it?
I'm enjoying it, actually. No, I like I said, I actually enjoy playing it with friends.
Yeah.
In trials, I always have to be like, I'm trying to help people through. I don't want to be a douche and just ram people through with TV and mana like all weekend. But in this one, you don't have to feel bad about that.
Yeah.
It's more fun. So,
are you gonna go to the farm on Sunday?
the farm. Oh yeah. The social space.
Yeah.
That's called that. Yeah, I'll check it out.
Nice.
I will
I'm
not
curious.
be playing Trials on Monday though. I can tell you that much.
No, I don't know if I can go back. Like I was so caught up in PUBG too before that.
I'm so bad at it, but it's so fun.
I heard. I kind of want to see this.
Yeah, I'm getting slightly better at mouse and keyboard. It's hard though. I've never played mouse and keyboard.
Neither had I, and I'm now at the point, not to get off topic, but I'm now at the point where like if I have a plan, I can figure out like, oh, there's a guy, I'm gonna go get him. But if I have to react, I'm still kind of like, oh god, what button do I push? And I end up scoping in at the ground and crawling while there's a guy shooting me with a shotgun.
Oh, I need to get better equipment too, because my mouse was a free mouse from like 4 years ago with my computer, and I know there's a.
It's an Octane by Cooler Master.
This thing's crappy.
Is it really?
I don't have like side buttons or anything, and that would be really useful.
I have side buttons.
I never remember to hit like Z quickly enough to lay down. I can hit C quickly, but not Z.
I'll try to put my gun away. I'll be running. I'm like, I'm gonna put my gun away and run faster, and I'll just lay on the ground like the zone's coming. I'm like,
well, there are like certain scenarios where like I had this plan. Like I ran in, like he saw me. He ran into a little like, I guess like one of those little bitty. That's not a house. What is it called?
We call them shit shacks.
Shit shacks. Yeah, he ran into one of those, and I was like, I got a nade. I'm gonna throw it through the window. He's gonna come out, and I'm gonna kill him. I threw the nade, and I just automatically assumed my weapon will come out. And it doesn't. You have to roll up and get it. So I threw the nade, and he popped out and just murdered me. And I was like, I was just punching the air.
Do y'all feel like that playing PUBG is gonna help y'all get prepared for D2 at all? I mean,
I hope so.
It's got to help some. I mean, we're getting used to key and mouse. It might not be the same, but
HOVEY, are you gonna make that switch over to PC when it comes available there?
I don't think I'll main it, but I'll definitely play it a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, the FPS, as much as people don't want to like be FPS whores, it is pretty awesome playing in higher FPS. So.
Yeah. I think at least for the get-go, unless something drastic happens with my motor skills, I'll probably play mostly PvE on PC because I will literally be a potato. Like,
it would be fun making content like getting through trials on PC with a controller. That'd be
that'd
be awesome. Well,
I plan on making your YouTube channel bigger during D2.
I'm gonna try to. It's hard to because
I know
I made it. I'm like how I grew my channel was making these highlights, and now stuff's just not as flashy. Yeah. Like I got a 4-kill clip earlier, and I was just like, that wasn't very exciting compared to like quick scoping 2 people and pulling out your hand cannon and 3 tapping. It's
really funny too when you do it. Like we were saying, in the moment, it still seems really cool, and you like, oh yeah, clip that, and then you watch it, and you're like, what? Why did I clip that? That was lame. Yeah. Like,
especially how the assist system works now. Because
did you actually kill any of those people? No.
Yeah, you just kill 2 for 1. You're like, you don't see your name at all in the kill feed. It's like, and I don't hate that. Like, I like the Overwatch system because I feel like it takes less importance of KD and it makes you more teamwork oriented. But as a flashy content creator, it looks kind of lame. So
no, I agree with that completely.
Yeah, I'm with you guys for sure. Well, I think we're getting close to the end of the podcast here.
Can I ask one more question?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Do you have any more questions?
One more question. It has the possibility of being a big discussion, but I don't want it to be. It's just we were talking about, flashy stuff and highlights. And we talked
Here's a bomb. Don't worry. You don't need to run, but you might need to.
We talked about trials and team shots and everything. Let's just assume that trials is going to be something like Countdown, right?
I was tempted to ask the same question.
Yeah. So what do you think it's going to take? Obviously, it's not going to be able to be like, you're not going to be able to carry or help 3 people, right? We would assume if they're all inexperienced or not very good because of the way team shots work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think 2 and helping 2 would work, or do you think you would need 3?
We had that discussion. May not have discussed this. And I think it depends on if we really care about getting people through to the lighthouse. Because if we don't, 2 and 2 would probably be, more exciting because we can both do raffle at the same time.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's if you're really wanting to get people through consistently, you're probably gonna have to do 3 and 1.
Yeah.
because I've played. It's hard. I've went to countdown with me, Tash, or like me, Tash and Mana, or me, Mana and TV. And if you go against a team of 4 and you have that blueberry, you don't have the communication. It can be super hard.
Yeah.
So like that one player does make a big difference.
I was gonna say, would you liken three people now, like if assuming that's the way it's gonna be, to 2 before and 2 and 2 now to a double carry before, or is it even harder? Does that make sense?
Say that again.
Would you compare like now if it was 3 people helping 1? Would you compare that to 2 people helping 1 in trials, and then 2 people helping 2? Would you compare that to like a double in the old trials, or do you think it's even harder now to do 2 and 2?
I mean, we can't. It's the beta, so we can't really tell.
Well, I just meant as far as like the team shots.
As far as I can tell, I think this will be harder because it's more teamwork oriented. Like we could play against a pretty good team, and if Mana snipes are on, we're gonna win probably. Like he can carry, or I could carry if my snipes are on.
Yeah,
it's not going to work that often. This is going to be team shots, so I think it's going to be harder.
I was just checking.
I remember I was with Ramblin at Guardian Con, and people were like, "Who's going to be the first to do like 1v4 trials?" And I was like, "Good
nobody.
Luck."
Jesus is.
Yeah, I was going to ask you the same question because I was wondering the same thing. Like, how difficult do you think it's going to be? And it sounds like you think it's going to be pretty. You're with us. It's going to be pretty hard.
If you were into potatoes, yeah, but it's going to be pretty hard.
Yeah.
Do you think that's going to hurt? Like maybe bigger streamers that rely on that?
It's going to hurt. Yeah, I think it's going to hurt. Definitely the PvP streams.
Do you think like, maybe more of them teaming up and kind of multi-streaming and stuff? Do you think that would kind of help them?
I think most streamers will be fine just because of their personalities. Like,
Yeah. I don't mean like necessarily completely killing them, but I mean, it's if that's their bread and butter and they can't do it anymore.
Certain ones, yeah. Like I'm not going to name anybody, but a good example of one that will still be okay would be like Real Crafty, because even though he's really good, he's also funny and very. It's easy to hang out with him and talk to him. He's very down to earth, so he'll be fine. But some streamers that might not have that personality and just have like really good gameplay probably will suffer a little bit.
Cool. Well,
that wasn't too bad. That wasn't too bad.
No, that was pretty quick.
That's not cool at all, Flash. That's bad.
I thought Hope was saying it's not too bad. Like it's not too long of an answer. Like we didn't take too much time.
Yeah, no, that is what I meant. Like that wasn't
okay. I'm with you.
The bomb didn't explode.
Well, Hovey, thank you so much for coming out and talking with us about your initial impressions with D2
Staying awake.
beta going on right now.
Oh, no problem.
Really.
I didn't really want to stream today because I've had bad anxiety, so I was kind of down to just chill.
Nice. Well, we appreciate you chilling with us.
Absolutely.
For anybody listening that doesn't know you somehow by some crazy circumstance, where can they find you on the interwebs?
My name's KJ Hovey. I'm the leader of Resolute. No, not really.
This is true.
To the general public, he is.
You can find me on Twitter at KJ Hovey. Pretty much everything's just at KJ Hovey. Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, when I actually want to upload a video. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just find me there.
Yeah. Look for those crispy 1v4s on YouTube soon.
Yeah, right.
Also, my final question is, what was it like staying in Pablo Escobar's resort?
It was pretty awesome. It was pretty great.
It looked pretty sick, man.
It was.
Well, this has been Lego Lay Flash. You can find me at Lego Lay Flash on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. Hove, where can they find you?
All those same places. Twitch, twitch.tv/Hove76. Twitter, Hove76. YouTube, I don't really do it. I'm kind of like Hovey, but not even as good as him.
I just don't get why you stole my name, honestly.
Yeah, what a punk.
I mean, someone had to make it look good.
Oh.
Triton, what about you?
Yeah, all the same places, all under Triton, please.
Nice. Well, you can also find RezoCast at RezoCast on Twitter. We'd love to hear from you, talk to you about the beta anytime. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play, everywhere. Hove, where can they find Resolute?
On Twitter at Team Resolute, and I've been saying this for weeks, but sometime soon, a new teamresolute.com, and also hopefully back at streaming on twitch.tv/ResoluteGaming7.
Cool. Well, that's it for RezoCast episode 43. We will see y'all after the beta. GG's.
GG.